Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another review. Today we are talking about Love Hurts, another Valentine's Day themed film. This is like the third one in a row that I've reviewed. I know it's that time of year, but it doesn't seem like we usually get this many holiday themed films coming out in a given year. Love Hurts is an R-rated action comedy starring Ke Huy Quan as Marvin, a hitman turned realtor. Just as he's starting to settle into civilian life, a ghost from his past returns and drags him back into the underbelly of crime. If that premise sounds familiar to you, I gotta say, I'm right there with you. I think the retired hitman archetype for a lead character in lower budget action films is among the most popular and perhaps the most overused. I know there's only so much you can do, but it feels like such a common overused template. But as I mentioned, this one is Valentine's Day themed. The woman who pulls Marvin back into the world of assassins is none other than Rose, played by Ariana DeBose, a former lover and the woman whom he spared after being instructed to kill her. The director's name is slipping me right now. This is his debut, but he does have a lot of experience in stunt coordination and as a stunt performer in some pretty prominent films, including a couple of entries into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In a second, I'm going to rip off a massive band-aid, but to give credit where due, I think some of the action sequences in this movie are fine. They're well shot enough, and you can tell that the person who is helming this project has a lot of experience in stunts and combat, hand-to-hand combat type action sequences. Also, shout out to Ke Huy Quan. I'm totally rooting for this guy. He seems like a very humble, genuine person, and I truly think he puts his best on screen here. I do think he's trying to do his absolute best here with the material that he was given. Shout out to Sean Astin too. I had no idea he was in this movie, and despite the fact that he only has about 5 minutes of screen time, I thought he was a standout. Okay, here it is. This movie's otherwise terrible. I'm sorry, but it's terrible. There are definitely people that are going to think that I'm being overly harsh towards it, and you're welcome to feel that way. If you enjoyed this movie, I'm happy for you, but I personally didn't. And for me, when I walk out of the theater and feel that I genuinely was cheated of my time, that I wasted my time, and that there were dozens of other much more valuable ways I could have spent my time than going to my favorite place in the world, the movie theater, that's, I think, one of the biggest criticisms I can throw at a film. And in the case of Love Hurts, despite only being a little over 80 minutes in length, it somehow manages to feel simultaneously rushed and tedious. The setup for Marvin as a character is something I've seen 1,000 times. They do nothing interesting with it here. He sort of gets a character arc over the course of the story. It's all about change and second chances, but as far as I'm concerned, he's already achieved that at the beginning of the film by leaving his old life behind. That is, until Rose throws him under the bus and pulls him back into that old life. And that's one of the biggest reasons I didn't buy into the romance between these two characters either, because she's an all-around shitty person for what she does to him here. But in all fairness to her, what kind of idiotic hitman retires to become a realtor? I mean, if you're trying to lay low and hide in plain sight, the worst thing you can do is have massive billboards with your face plastered on them all around town. Quan and DeBose are both Oscar-winning actors, and somehow their chemistry still falls completely flat. It goes to show that you can have good performers in your movie and still have it be a train wreck. And it goes beyond the fact that I think their personalities just don't mesh very well together. The movie doesn't even attempt to portray these two characters in any sort of intimate sense. I don't remember a single scene in which they kiss until maybe the end. It's so forgettable that it's already slipping my mind as I'm speaking. Characters constantly talk in this movie about love, about giving someone new a chance and opening that door. But it doesn't really show us any of that, so it's almost as if you could take the Valentine's Day element out of this and have the exact same movie left behind. It would be equally as forgettable, but still. And as short as this movie is, it somehow still has time for a subplot about one of the bad guy henchmen's marriage going south, and another one about one of the other bad guys falling in love with Marvin's assistant. This is one of the most dreadful screenplays I have seen in the last 12 months or so. Again, I found some of the action sequences to be enjoyable, but that's only about 10 minutes of the actual film. It's not funny, it's not romantic, even an amusing cameo from Drew Scott can't save it. With that said, I'm giving Love Hurts 1 star. I don't want anyone to get the wrong impression here. I'm not blaming Ke Huy Quan or Ariana DeBose for this movie. When you're an actor, you gotta take the gigs that come up sometimes, because unless you're an A-lister, you don't get to pick and choose your roles as much as some of these other people. Normally, I don't really talk about other review channels when I'm talking about my reviews, but I do sometimes watch other people's videos as well, and I happened to watch Jeremy Johns' video about this film. And I do agree with him that this seems like the kind of movie that a lot of the actors and crew probably had a fun time making. It just fell totally flat when you actually put it on screen, and that happens sometimes. It's just a massive shame because I want to be the type of person who supports films like this and encourages other people to go see them because of some of the talent involved. But I can't in the right mind recommend this. If you're a diehard fan of low-budget action movies, you might have a fun enough time with it. And if you do, please let me know down in the comments what you did like about it. And if I'm being harsh, let me know how so. As always, be sure to hit that like button as well as subscribe before you head out. If you want to see more content like this, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later.